Hi guys, I'm Can, and I'm currently the rank 1 Dynamo on NA, and I wanted to give you a guide on how I play Stomp Utility in high Eternus lobbies. Although I'm known for playing Refresher Rush, getting it before 10 minutes, 13 minutes, in the current patch, Stomp Utility, making sure your opponents can't play the game and using your stomps to deal massive damage, has made climbing so much easier. Although this is a guide on how to play a certain style of Dynamo, I'll be going through all his skills and giving you a brief introduction into what he does, how he's good in team fights, what he's bad at, and why I choose the main Dynamo. First off, the build is 280407 if you need that for later. And feel free to stop by my Twitch if you have any questions about the build or any of my other builds. His first skill is Kinetic Pulse. It's basically a bowling ball that gets sent down the lane to knock up opponents. It'll likely be the first skill you get, as well as the first upgrade point you spend on, because the slow and fire rate is a lot of value. Its range scales the spirit, meaning the more spirit you have, the farther it'll go. In this build, it's the first thing you max, since the 115 damage plus 1 charge, and running around the map with 4 charges gives you around 1200 damage at around 8 minutes. One thing to note from when you're stomping from an aerial position is that the angle is very weird. So the stomp is a 30-ish degree angle and not a 45 that you might think. One thing to note is if they're on top of you, 90% of the time it'll still hit. So as long as you're literally like next to them or inside them, ideally, it'll hit. And Shaky Wiggy taught me that. His next skill is Quantum Entanglement. It'll make him and his surrounding allies invincible for 1.4 seconds while teleporting them to a safe location, or ideally a safe location. It'll also reload them and give them some fire rate. It's such a minor skill that's like really OP in a lot of ways. It helps you dodge Eternus ults. It gets your team out of sticky situations where they're trapped and can't get out. It can beat Geist ult, it can beat Shiv ult, it can beat a lot of ults that kill, like Talonbird. If you know the Talonbird's coming and you or your teammate are about to die, you can quantum entanglement out of it. Honestly, your imagination is your best friend here and how you use it. There's certainly still some spots I do not know, or in certain cases I do not know when to use quantum entanglement. But just know that practice makes perfect, and you're probably going to kill your teammates a few times or a good amount of times, and they're going to be mad. It is what it is. I have made many enemies trying to save them, and I killed them, and they flame me forever. It is not fun. But when you save them, it's really cool, especially from bebop hooks or random one-shot kills like Shiv ult. I'm going to show you some spots around the map that you can use to quantum your teammates out of certain situations. Say your teammates are fighting down here, you know they're losing, you can quantum them outside. If your teammate is fighting in the side lane veils, or maybe even in mid, you can tell them they can just go ham with the heavy punches. They can just keep swinging and keep swinging. And if they get parried, hey, like, you just quantum it out and you're good. The next spot is double sinners. If they're either stealing or doing their own sinners and you hear enemy footsteps, you can always quantum them out, like via here, and you'll grab most of wherever they are. You can even do it under there. It's a lot of freedom in how you use it. I think the next spot that's a lot harder to use is around here or even underground. If you know your teammate's being chased and you don't think they can get out, you can always just grab them and go downwards. And vice versa, if they're fighting down here and you're up there, you can just quantum them upwards. One thing to know about quantum entanglement is that when you use it, your dashes and air jumps reset, meaning that although you can't usually triple jump in the air, you can just double jump, quantum, and double jump again, or dash. So this will give you a lot of height advantage and make it a lot harder to catch you. So just double jump, and then you can double jump again, and then reach it. His 3 is Rejuvenating Aurora. Basically, it's a small heal early game, 125, that helps in lane, but it's nothing groundbreaking. When it gets really strong is when it's fully maxed and heals your teammate from 2.5% of their max HP per second. And since his channel duration is around 5 seconds, it's around 12.5 to 15% of their max HP, depending if you have duration or not. I don't choose the maxes first because if your teammate has around 1500 to 2000 HP, it'll only heal them around an extra 300 or so HP along with the regular heal, which is 125. So it's 450 HP, give or take, when you could just stomp the enemy for an extra 400 or 500. There's different playstyles, of course, but this is just for this build. I'm maxing 1 instead of 3 first. One thing to note is that when your heal is not maxed at all, you can still run as normal, but you can't shoot at all. You can't even slide. You can only basically roll and punch. If your opponent knows you can only punch, that means you can kind of throw haymakers and you can fake by pretending you're going to swing at them and baiting out a parry. Depending on what elo you're in, I don't know how often you can bait out a parry when it's better to just go for it. Because I'm assuming when they're new to the game, they won't parry. So you can basically just heal and just keep punching. Oh yeah, his 3 also gives him movement speed when it's fully maxed, and it lets him act out of it, meaning he can kind of do anything. His 4 is Singularity. It's a black hole that goes around Dynamo that stuns and pulls in nearby enemies. It does a decent amount of base damage per second, as well as max HP as damage per second. It can go up to as long as 5 seconds, and can make or break games. It doesn't matter if you're down 40, 50k. If you can imagine yourself black holing 6 of them, it does not matter how far behind your team is, you can still win the game. Although that's, rare and getting 6-man black holes, but that is the reason I 90% of the time do not give up on my team. They might give up on me, it is what it is, but if you have a black hole and you have a team that kind of listens or kind of cares and wants to win, it is always winnable. One thing to note about black hole is that it'll always carry some of your momentum, meaning that it's better to warpstone then dash instead of dash then warpstone ult, because warpstone ulting will instantly kind of give you 0 momentum, versus if you warpstone and then dash, it'll slightly push you forward. It's not a huge thing, but it's a small adjustment that could be helpful in the future. Depending on how leveled or how much range you have for your black hole, or this could be through items, arcane surge, leveling it, is it can become more and more gimmicky. Meaning that you can hit players that have no idea that you are even there. For example, there's an Eternus down here, and I can grab him, but if I didn't have range, I wouldn't be able to do that. So if your teammate is fighting down here, you could go inside and kind of risk getting shot from a teammate, enemy over there or enemy over here. But if you think you can just turn it, you can just ult from up here and it'll grab them upwards. There's other spots around the map. I can't think of it at this time. I should put them in the list, but it's actually not that important. It's more about if you see a good opportunity to black hole, just try it. If it doesn't work, you'll learn. If it does, cool. You're gonna fail the black holes often. If you main Dynamo, it's gonna feel very, very bad. It's gonna be mood killing actually, because it could feel like you lost your team the game because you missed the black hole. It is kind of what it is. It's gonna feel bad, and I don't think there's a way you can help it. It's kind of just how you get better. You're gonna fail some black holes, you're gonna get some good ones. It's kind of like limit testing. If you're playing other characters of just running in and dying, you don't know your limit of the reach of black hole for maybe when you don't have certain items, or we do have certain items. Like you can reach for people like trying to escape. Like you try to clip them, it doesn't work. Sometimes it works. It's a very experimental based and experience based. So just try not to beat yourself up too hard if you miss a black hole. And if your team's flaming you, there's the mute button. Usually it's here. So Dynamo has a notoriously weak early game. It's not the weakest and it's not terrible, but it's kind of weak. And there's not a lot of synergy that goes along with Dynamo. One thing to do is always play cover as best you can when you're trying to deny souls, take souls, and trade with the opponent. Dynamo's a huge target, and it's very easy to just shoot them in the head or shoot them in the body. Because if they miss your head, they're probably going to just hit you in the body instead. One technique you can try doing when you're trying to trade with the opponent is while you're shooting them and sliding down, you stomp and punch. Eventually, or maybe from the very beginning, you don't even punch. They will know you want to punch, so after the stomp, they will usually parry like right there. And that's when you just keep shooting them. Even when you stomp, you could just literally just be in their face and keep shooting them and wait for their parry. Because usually people like to mix in jabs, and that's when you get parried. A lot of people will like shoot, either punch first and instantly get parried, or if they haven't parried yet, what I love to do is I just stomp, I just keep running at them, shooting, and if I stop shooting, I'll literally not punch them. I'll wait, I don't care. Right when they parry, you can either hold heavy punch to guarantee a heavy punch right after the parry ends, or if you're not comfortable with timing that, you just wait as long as you can and then just jab them. So you need to be a good burger boxer when you're learning Dynamo or trying to play Dynamo, meaning that you gotta be like scrappy. You gotta punch and heavy punch and fake, and you gotta practice getting parrying. It'll cost you a lot of games, I think, when you're just getting used to like taking out punches, punching. But it's super important because Dynamo's gun, I think, is one of the lowest DPSs in the game. But what evens it out is punching. So if you just punch the guy hard enough, or if you stomp him and then fake out a punch and then punch, then it helps the lane a lot easier. Of course, your teammate matters and the enemy teammate matters as well. But these are just small tips that might be able to elevate your gameplay. Here are some reasons Dynamo might be for you. In League of Legends, you love Amumu or Malphite. In Heroes of the Storm, you love ETC. In Dota, you love Enigma or Tidehunter. If you always want to have a chance to win any game, Dynamo might be for you. If you feel like your aim has hit a wall and you feel like you can't really improve as much, or you just don't want to improve as much and you want to be carried by abilities and game sense, or you like to be flamed and like instilling hope in your team and feeling like a god, then Dynamo might be for you. Some of the cons of playing Dynamo is that he can be very sluggish without some decent movement practice. His ult can be very easy to use or very hard depending on the enemy team comp, which you have no control over, like Talonbirds, Trap, Lash ult, or even the massive DPS from Wraith or Haze. Dynamo loses most lanes, that in this case, winning means going even. Since Black Hole is such a big cooldown, make sure you're maximizing your souls per minute by doing boxes, using stomps for mini fights, and dying for towers. Some of the pros of playing Dynamo is that he has the best CC in the game, that can always turn losing games into winning ones. Whether the enemy team is up 20, 30k souls, while everything looks bleak, it doesn't matter if you have Black Hole up. Things are always winnable. His team heal is great, especially late game, and his quantum makes him and his team extra slippery. His stomps mid game means that he can pump out around 1200 damage into an enemy at around 10 minutes. This means that if you have a teammate nearby, you should be able to kill anyone in the game, especially if you have Silence Wave. Good luck in your games, and feel free to ask any questions in the Discord or while I stream. I'm on most weekdays after 3 PM Pacific, probably.